Okay. Just pause it. Oh, let's start recording this. Just gonna mute. If you guys definitely utilize the chat tonight. Okay. Screen share. Here we go. Come on. Present. Okay. Can we see the screen? Obviously it's loading. Yeah, okay. So Team Cup has started. So if you are on a team, I love it. I hope that you guys are like pushing for big things and things that are just like what your goals are for this month. And for me, it's, you know, something bigger than I've ever hit before, but also just like myself, you know, being pregnant and trying to work out every single day and like keep up with everything. Holy. So that is my biggest thing. 7:30 on Wednesday, we have Nicole Jones speaking. Cynthia got us. She reached out, was like, hey, can you do a team call for us? She was in Beachbody Champs this week, and she has this really cool notebook / index card, how she does tracking and stuff. So it's something really, really interesting. So she's going to talk to us a little bit about that. So if you can be on, I know these are like a ton of extra team calls this week, but I was like, hey, the more the merrier. And they're like, it's just fun to kind of see how other people do things. So that's on Wednesday. Normally we used to have team calls on Wednesday, so I was like, maybe some people can make it. And then on Thursday, I'll be speaking on Kelley's team call. And so you guys are more than welcome to jump onto that if you want to. I would obviously love to see some familiar faces, but don't feel obligated like you have to be there. So every Monday, I'm going to like kick it off with a new quote because I got into the habit of doing that last week and I was like, oh, I really, really like this. So be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. So what is it that are kind of your dreams? This kind of goes off of last week's quote of like, let your dreams be your wings. Like, what sets you on fire that makes you want to keep going? Like, what is it that is going to just like explode you and everything? I don't know. I just really like it. Rachel Hollis again. So anyway, without further ado, let's see if this is going to work. All right, come on. Kelley. Okay. So Kelley, I'm sure she's going to talk about her, but I'm going to give her a little introduction. She is a full-time nurse and she's been coaching for almost 4 years. She is a diamond coach and has 16 personally sponsored coaches under her. Like, that is nuts to me. And she really, when we were talking the other day, she was like, I just don't really believe in the world like hustle. And I was like, me neither. I feel like you have to do what is right for you. And we were just talking about energy and like what, you know, this isn't just a cookie cutter business, because it's not. Like, you cannot follow what every single person is doing and see success from this. So Kelley, you can go into a little bit more. I'm going to stop my screen share and pass it on over to you.
I see some familiar faces. First of all, it's funny because candle is, and so I lit this one that says, don't quit your daydream. So it was funny that you were talking about that. So I feel like we literally just met in Beachbody Champions and we chatted a little bit. Like, she was the only one that we kind of kept a conversation going. And the more we talked, it's like insane how we run very similarly. So it's just crazy. But first off, thank you guys for having me tonight. It's funny, I'm a little bit nervous, and normally I can talk to my team for hours and not be nervous at all. But so that shows you that nerves never go away. I've been doing this for 4 years in April. So a little bit about myself. So I won't go into spending time too much on my own story, but I joined purely for the accountability for the weight loss. I figured if I had that coach title, then maybe I could finally stick with my goals. I had intention of ever running a business. I used to be such a fox. I did not. I never wanted to be in the front. I never wanted to be a leader. Like, that was not who I was at all. So I'm a full-time nurse. I used to work at the bedside. I very fortunately don't have to do that anymore. I work from home and I do more insurance type stuff work, but I had a career. I had no intention of doing this as a business, but as time went on, I noticed that I was developing this confidence, and I was developing these leadership skills, and I wanted to take on hosting my uplines calls. And then I eventually branched off and formed my own team, which I'll talk a little bit more about, with one of my PS coaches and another girl who is a downline of my upline. My upline isn't active anymore. So I want to discuss that too, that you don't need a strong leg to be successful. You can do it all on your own. Like, don't let that hold you back. But we ended up branching off and forming our own team with the three of us. So you don't have to have success partners. I don't preach success partners because I think that label can super stress people out. Like, we have to do everything together. We have to have the same mission. We have to have the same. Like, there's very, very successful people that run their team solely by themselves. I would encourage you more to find people like Stephanie and I have that just mesh together. And, you know, you might team calls, or you might just share some ideas in a group chat. Like, you don't have to have any label of a brand, a success partner, any of those things to be a successful coach. And I don't want to steal Stephanie's thunder because she's going to talk a lot about just being you in this business. And I want to tag off of that and share with you why I almost quit coaching last year after being in this for almost 4 years, and how I had to take a step back and really evaluate why I wanted to be here. And I know that we hear that all the time. We hear why we want to be a coach, right? What is your why? You have to follow your why. And I know sometimes you get so accustomed to hearing that if you've been in this business for a while, you almost lose sight of what your why is. And you're like, should my why be evolving? What should my why be? Should my why be, you know, the girl I heard on Monday's wake up call? You know, you tend to become a parrot almost to all of the amazing knowledge that you download. You're constantly reading personal development. You're constantly listening to Rachel Hollis. You're constantly listening to Beachbody Champions pages. You're constantly listening to Stephanie. You know, you're constantly downloading all of this amazing knowledge. But I realized one thing I wasn't doing was I was never stopping to disconnect from any of that so that I could listen to what Kelley wanted, who Kelley was, what Kelley needed. Because what I tended to do was I would go and hear something super inspirational, and then I would immediately jump on my team page and want to share that with them. But was that me? Was that me embodying and practicing what I just got inspired by? Or was that me just like repeating what I just heard because I was super, super hyped, you know? And it's great to be excited and it's great to share that information, but what's going to get you through this business from a longevity standpoint is embodying who you are. And like I said, my upline is not active anymore, but my star upline, so her upline, her and I are very close. And I give her major, major props. One of the reasons I'm still here today, because Andrea Crowder is my star upline, if you guys know who she is. But Andrea very much teaches us to follow our energy, and we don't push for rank. We don't push for Success Club. And I know that that seems kind of like, oh my God, she just said that. Like, it seems like an anomaly in this business, because so often you will jump on national wake up calls, whatever calls, and that's all they talk about. And I'm not saying that that stuff is not important. I always shoot for Success Club every month. I have big goals in this business. You know, I want to be elite. I would love to be in the top 200. You know, I have really big goals. However, why did all of a sudden who decided that any of those goals need a certain timeline? When Carl says that we're the CEO of our business, you're the CEO of your business. So Meredith's business is going to look different than Catherine's business and Cynthia's business. Like, all of our businesses are going to look different. And that is what makes Beachbody so incredible. That is why we stand apart from every other MLM that is out there, even our competitors, even those that are fitness related, because we are not a one-size-fits-all operation. And that's what you need to reach the population that is definitely not one-size-fits-all, you know? And I think what happens, let me give you a little bit of how coaching starts. So I think regardless if you start off as a discount coach, or maybe you want to work it part-time, we all kind of have that, most of us have that instant success at the beginning. You're hype, you're doing your first program, you're sharing your results, people from your warm market are soaking it up, your friends, your coworkers, your family, you know, and so you might hit goals right out of the bat. You might hit Success Club. You might earn your Summit ticket. You might hit Emerald pretty quickly. And you're like, man, this is really easy. Like, this is awesome. I love it. You're loving the community. You're loving everything about it, right? You're just preaching it to the world. So you have some success. And then you hit that roadblock where you're like, crap, my warm market dried up. Maybe you're struggling personally with your own fitness journey. Maybe you got pregnant. Maybe you just had a baby. Maybe you went through a divorce. Maybe you got a new job. Like, life happens. So that first initial excitement of that first program, when you had those first transformation photos, and now all of a sudden you need to recommit to a program, and then you go through that, you kind of feel like a fraud, and you kind of don't want to share, and you only want to share the transformation. You only want to share your teammates' transformations. Like, the thing is, guys, people want to see the day in and day out that you have, because they're humans. Like, there's some people in this business that look like like bodybuilding competitors all the time. They're very strict on nutrition. They're always going to have 12-pack abs. That's just who they are at people. But that's because that's what's important to them. I enjoy beverage occasionally. I like carbs. And I have 2 kids and I work, and it's just not realistic that I'm going to have a 12-pack all the time without killing myself to get them. It's not worth it. So people that want a 12-pack aren't going to relate to me because they want something that's sustainable, right? So, sorry, if you guys were at Summit last year, I'm a total swiggle. Like, I cannot stay on track. My teammates are always like, all right, Kelley, reel it in. So you go through training. So you're like, okay, now I'm going to soak up. Look at this girl. She just hit blah, blah, blah within 6 months. I'm going to do exactly what she's doing. She posted a new tracker in the Beachbody Champions page. I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to commit to doing her tracker. And you do it for like 3 days and you want to gouge your eyeballs out. And you're like, why doesn't this feel fun? Kate just like went from a coach to 8-star in 6 months. She said this method is, problem free. And you're like, this doesn't work for me. Like, I hate this. I personally hate a power hour. Not that I don't think it's effective. I think you guys have every single tool in the book that I'm sure Stephanie has shared with you to be successful today. If you were like, I want to be a 5-star coach, you don't need a training. You don't need Stephanie to tell you what you do. You could go out and look at all the resources you have on Google, in your Coach Online office, and all the resources Stephanie has shared with you, and you could send out enough invites and work hard enough and hustle to reach that goal. And if that's important to you, you'll make it happen. But I think it's all of us that want the goals and are wondering why it's hard. And you hear people say, it's not hard, it's not hard. Ashley, who's the #1 coach right now, said on the call a few weeks ago, it's not hard what we do. And you might say, well, it's easy for her to say, she's the #1 coach in the organization, but it's really not hard. If you want to put the work in, you can do it. But I'm speaking from my experience and the majority of the coaches on my team. Most of us are moms. We have kids. Most of us have full-time jobs. Jessica freaking homeschools her kids. So she's with her kids 24/7. Like, it's not realistic for me to tell them to do a power hour even 5 days a week. They barely have 5 minutes to go to the bathroom by themselves. Like, they're not going to have a designated hour to sit down and work their business. So, then you can say, oh, I've heard of this power pocket method, or I've heard of this PB&J method. Like, you're going to hear methods all the time. And one thing, I just recently hired a life coach, which I will touch on a little bit. One thing she said to me that I love it so much is, when you're listening to trainings, when you are soaking up personal development, take what you want and leave the rest. Why do we feel this need when we hear a national wake-up call or hear our upline speak that we have to implement everything they're saying? Like, if I'm going to be successful, I've got to go do everything they're saying. It's the same way with your fitness program. Autumn doesn't play. Autumn's not like Sean. She's going to tell you, if you want these results, you're going to give up alcohol for 80 days. If you want these results, you're not going to have a cheat day. But if that doesn't vibe with you, then you've got to do it your own way. I made it 31 days with no alcohol and 80-day obsession, and I was like, this is dumb. This is dumb. If I want a glass of red wine one day a week, I'm going to have it. And I still got insane results. And I didn't feel like a failure. I didn't give up. And you know what? I shared that on social media. I said, you know what? Yeah, this program called for no alcohol, but guess what? Mama needs her Malbec on a Friday night. And you know what? My niche, my followers are gonna vibe with that because they're not gonna want to give up alcohol for 80 days. You know, like you have to really embody who you are. And I know that's more Stephanie's topic, but this is how I get in to my energy, myself. And I'm gonna give you guys 5 tips, okay? My number 1 tip that I can give you is tomorrow or this weekend, I want you to go on your social media and I want you to unfollow. I want you to do like a mass unfollow. And I mean, it could be coaches on your team. It could be coaches in you know, your network. Just because you're not following them and watching their stories and commenting on their stuff every day does not mean you don't support them. And I know that when I first started coaching, because of the whole Facebook algorithm, we were really pushed to do that. You know, comment on people's stuff, like people's stuff, because that's going to be, we all know the algorithm, no one can figure it out. So stop wasting your time trying to figure out when to post, how many comments you need. Just show up and genuinely be who you are. Now, I'm not saying if you have a vulnerable post or one that you're really trying to get traction, pop it in your team page and say, hey guys, can you go comment? But all of that that's getting in your way is taking time away from the people that need you. And also, I know I was guilty of constantly comparing myself to other coaches. I know Kate Morgan. Kate Morgan came on our team call when she was like first lighting fire up. I mean, like she hadn't really hit many accolades yet, but Andrea had her on our call because she was like, this girl is one to watch. I don't know how she even heard of her. And so I immediately was like, she's just like me. She's a normal girl. She gets up at 5 in the morning. She sits out 63 invites in the morning. Okay, I'll just start doing that. Okay, I was doing 80 obsession. I was already getting up at 4:30 to make sure I had my pre-workout shake in time, had my Energize, got my hour-long workout in, got my kids up for school, got to work. There was no way in hell I was doing 63 invites in the morning. So then I immediately had this like, oh, well, if Kate can do it, and I'm saying I can't do it, then I must be less than. And that doesn't mean I like wallowed in myself, but even for a second, if I felt like I wasn't good enough, I can't follow Kate right now. I love her. I think she's amazing, but you have to go and you have to unfollow all those coaches, even if it's the top coach. I don't follow like anybody right now. But that doesn't mean I don't go to their page occasionally. I will type their name in and go see what they're up to, but I don't need them in my wall every day and I don't need them in my stories. I need to be connecting, I need to be connecting to my potential coaches and my potential customers. This is kind of 1A. When you go and you do your mass unfollow, I would encourage you, if you were in this business, to build any kind of business. And I assume that those of you that are jumping on this call want to build some kind of business, even if that's a part-time business. There's a part of you that wants more than just being a discount coach. Surround yourself with other women that light you up and not Beachbody coaches. So go out and find female entrepreneurs, people like Rachel Hollis, motivational speakers. Surround yourself with people that you want to embody their skills. You want to embody their lifestyle. And I don't mean bloggers that you're envious of their house because literally you're like, they have 7 kids. How in the hell does their house look like Joanna Gaines? Do you know why? Because they're full-time bloggers and they just cleaned the 10 by 10 space behind them and the toys are still there. Like, so often we see those snapshots of people's Instagram and we think that's their real life. And it's not. And that doesn't mean anything demeaning to them. But guys, we all know we want a beautiful Instagram page. I love a good Lightroom filter. But what I love about Instagram is you can have a beautiful, curated, purposeful, content planned page and still be a hot mess on your stories. So your followers get the fact that you put time and intention into making your Instagram look beautiful, because we all know you're not going to stop your scroll unless you see a pretty picture. And I'm sure Stephanie's talked to you about that before. go by a window, get good lighting. Like, there's a few things to make your Instagram look pretty. And you can get really cheap Etsy Lightroom filters on Etsy for like $3 or $4. But show up on your Instagram like a hot mess, tell them you made it freaking 30 days, an 8 obsession and had to have the wine. But follow people that are going to light you up. And there may come a point where they light you up for a little while, and then you fall back into that old way. Oh, well, if she's 28 and she's already the successful 6-figure entrepreneur, what am I doing wrong? The second that you find yourself comparing, feeling jealous, feeling less than, it is time for them not to be in your journey right now. That does not mean you can't draw inspiration from them later on. Okay? Number 2, this is probably, obviously, I feel like these are going in order of importance. Number 2, I mentioned this a little bit already, but we know we love PD, right? We love PD. That's probably the majority of the reasons why we have stayed around in this business. I know myself, I thought it was a bunch of crap at the beginning. I was like, I will work out and drink my shake, but I'm not reading a book. It tells me to be a better person because I already think I'm pretty great. Oh my God, I was so wrong. Like, I have always been a very perky person, but I wasn't always a positive person. I thought I was because I showed up with good energy every day and tried to see the best in people. But me and my husband were in a gross place. I was still gossiping about a lot of people. Like, ew. I look back at Kelley a few years ago and I was like, oh, and you start reading personal development and you're like, oh my God, like it changes your life, right? Like my marriage is the best it's ever been. I have relationships, college friends that I don't even speak to anymore. And it wasn't purposefully. We just grew apart. I just can't spend my weekends getting wasted with them, talking about people we went to college with. Like we're 34 years old. Like we can't do it anymore. But you have to unplug from all of the goodness sometimes to listen to what your body is telling you. Do you know that intuition, that like gut feeling that tells you if you're doing something right or wrong? Like that is your inner being, your inner soul telling you what to do next. So if you're constantly downloading everybody else's goodness, how are you ever going to hear what you need? And that was the first thing my life coach told me when I joined with her. She was like, have you ever taken a PD break? I was like, what are you talking about? Because she used to be a Beachbody coach. I was like, I don't take a PD break. That's like what I do every day. And she's like, yeah, but how do you know the stuff that you are regurgitating to your community, your coaches, your following is coming from you? And I was like, well, shit, I never thought about it like that before, And so she asked me to take a month off and I was like, I can't do that. I can't do that. So I started with a week. And then I got through a week and I was like, wow, I feel so in tune with myself from a spiritual level, like just listening and following what I needed. So 1 week turned into 2, and I ended up taking about 3 weeks off, and it was actually a little hard to get back into it. But what I noticed when I started listening to PD again was if I turned something on, even a national wake-up call, and it wasn't speaking to me, I took some and I left it. I did not feel the need any longer to download everything around me. That doesn't mean I didn't appreciate, but I finally, for the first time in a long time, was listening to myself. And it was helping guide me on what to do next in my fitness journey. It was helping me what to do next to teach to my coaches. It was helping me what to do next in my business. And back in probably September, I thought I needed to walk away. I was so burnt out and frustrated with, I just didn't even know what I was doing. I literally felt lost in the business. I loved Beachbody. I love Beachbody. I love my team. I'm repping. We have our own brand. I love my challenge group. I love all of the women that I get to surround myself with every day, but it wasn't being fun anymore. And the reason it wasn't being fun is because I was showing up because I thought I had to. I was doing things because I thought I should be doing them, not because I wanted to, not because my energy was behind it. And my star upline would always talk about leading with your energy. But you can listen to somebody teach you something all day long, but until you embody it and fully believe it, it won't make sense. I mean, how often have you tried to implement something somebody told you and you're like, that sounds amazing, but when you try to do it, it doesn't feel natural. You're just going through the motions. You know, maybe like, I know when I first started out learning how to meditate, because Andrea's all about the spiritual. You guys, so she's all about the crystals and the woo-woo, and she's all into that. And I found myself feeling like I needed to go and do everything she was doing. Well, I need to put crystals in my bra. I need to meditate all the time. I need to look at the moon cycle. Like, that stuff wasn't me. Like, you know, she gets herself so aligned in a beautiful energy and is very successful because of it. I mean, she's branched off and done other entrepreneurial businesses, and she's killing it because she's following her brand. If I started selling crystals, people would be like, you need to leave that to the experts. You don't know what you're doing. And I've actually since, like, I have some crystals now. I staged my office for the first time a few weeks ago. Like, I feel like I'm like a virgin woo-wooer. I'm like slowly getting into it. But I had to get into it because I was being guided to it, not because I wanted the success Andrea had. And if I did what she was doing, then I would be successful. So turning into that, my third tip is you need to get in the vibes. So how often have you heard people say, you need to act as if you're a 5-star, act as if you're making $5,000 a month, act as if you're in the $1 million club. And again, that's a very hard concept to grasp, because you're like, what the hell does that mean? Do I just wake up and I'm like, woo, I got $1 million in the bank? And you're like, no, I don't. Like, how do you embody that, right? It's a slow process. And here's a couple of things that I do to get high vibe. One is curl my hair. Guys, I looked a hot mess 30 minutes before this call. I literally was still in my workout clothes from this morning. I had a little bit of an odor. I don't even think I had a bra on. And I was like, I cannot hop on this call looking like this. So I hop in the shower real quick, curled my hair, threw a little makeup on. And currently I'm obsessed with Panic at the Disco because I took my teenager to see the concert a few weeks ago. And I'm in love. I feel like a 16-year-old. Like, I want a poster of Brendan Urie on my wall. But that is what is getting me on all the vibes right now. Like, so I will cut him on and I will sing at the top of my lungs and I will bounce around and jump around my office. And instantly I'm like ready to crush the world in like a matter of 6 minutes, you know? So, but you can't go listen to Panic at the Disco, you know, like, unless that's your jam. You've got to find what works for you. Maybe that's quiet time. Maybe that's meditating. Maybe that's listening to a little Abraham Hicks. Maybe that's, you know, you've got to find what is going to get you excited. Because if you wait for that motivation to come, it's not going to come. Especially if you guys are working all day long. You've got kids. The last thing you want to do first thing in the morning when you're enjoying your cup of coffee in the silence before everybody wakes up, or at bed once you put everybody to sleep and all you want to do is drink a glass of wine and like watch Scandal on, you know, repeat. Like, you're never going to want to sit down. Like, how often are you like, I can't wait to go talk to some people? Like, it's a rarity. Like, you don't really want to like stop your life and go talk to people. However, once you get into that vibe, you love it. I kind of wanted to throw up before I got on this call, and now I feel like we're all best friends and I could talk to you guys for hours. Like, you just have to get in that vibe first. And even if you don't have like an office, like, find a candle that smells good. You know, like, I love off the shoulder tops because I think my shoulders are really sexy. I love bralettes. Like, there's all kinds of things that you can do to get yourself in the mood. But figure that out. Figure out what works for you. You might have to try a few things first and have that be like your, this is a really, really bad example, but have that be like your foreplay. Like, do it before the main action comes. Like, you know, you want to sit down and connect with some people. You want to change some lives. You want to hit Success Club. You want to rank advance. You want to do all those beautiful things. But you need to show up, not because you have to, because Stephanie is going to ask you to post a picture of your tracker tomorrow night and you don't have anything to show. So you gotta get your vibes first. So figure that out. So vibes before you work. So technically number 3 was create a vibey environment. So not everybody has an office, but I have my vision board right in front of me, and it's got a very, very cheap Christmas white lights from Walmart around it, but I love the twinkle. And then I have some flowers back here that I get from Trader Joe's for like $7, and they're a beautiful blush color because I have a Pinterest board that is all like blush and my dream house and all the beautiful vibey things that I look at every night before I go to bed. You really have to become as if you're looking for that dream home, if you want to be 5-star, like what would they act like? Would they show up every day? Would they show up and be like, oh, I'm too tired to do this? No, they probably would like huff and puff a little bit because they really want to watch Scandal too, but they know that they have goals to hit. And goals is a whole other conversation, but I'm not a hustler pusher with my coaches. I tell them, if you want to shoot big, I am here to run with you, but you've got to let me know, because I'm not going to sit around and ask them what they're doing. I'm not going to sit around and ask them how many people they've like, that's not what I'm here for. Like, I am here to help them if they're ready to go, because the last thing you guys want to hear either is Stephanie dropping in your inbox at lunchtime and being like, oh girl, how many hang-rolls have you sent out today? You're going to be like, Stephanie, leave me alone. It's lunchtime. Like, you don't want her in your inbox just as much as she doesn't want to tell you that. So totally off track, but you've got to get in your vibes first. So create a vibey environment and then vibe before you work. Vibe before you work. And I guarantee you that if you spend 90 seconds listening to a song, I mean, you all know that like Beyonce or Britney or any of that is going to like get you pumped up. And sit down and don't feel the pressure that you've got to do this for an hour. I know that even up to last year, I felt like if I'm not getting a power hour in, then I suck at life. Because I took Josh Coach's training. If anybody take his training, because I felt like I had to. I felt like everyone that was before me and was seeing success had taken his training. And I'm not saying anything against Josh Coach. The man is brilliant. I've had cocktails with him. He's great, whatever, but I don't vibe with the hustle. So I committed to doing his program for a month. Guys, after 30 days, I thought I had to quit. I was like, I can't do this. It was something stupid, Stephanie, like, you need to send out, I don't know, it was some retarded number. I was like, this is not sustainable. This is like telling me that in order for me to get 12-pack abs, I can never drink again. Where do I put in my resignation? I can't do this. But some people love the hustle. Some people swear by him. They are in one-to-one mentorship with him. They will devote all of their money into him, and they're seeing massive success. And that's incredible. I am so proud of them, but that's not who I am. So like what Stephanie's going to talk about on Thursday, you've got to figure out who you are, and you've got to figure out what you want out of this business. Because at the end of the day, it's your business. You are the CEO. And I know that we have vital behaviors, but if it doesn't feel good to you, don't do it. Find a way to make that vital behavior fun for you. All right. Okay. Number 5. Did I list for Stephanie? She seems really organized, guys. Like, I loved her little PowerPoint. Just show up. I know you hear it all the time, but just show up. Are all of you guys on Instagram? Most everyone? Yeah. Instagram is so fun. Sometimes I wish I could just get rid of Facebook, but I know we need it. Like, I wish Instagram would come out with groups, because the thing about Instagram, I feel that allows you to be the coach you want to be. I feel like on Facebook, I know a lot of us have more family on there, maybe people you work with, and you feel like you can't show up as authentically as you want. It needs to be more of a curated post, inspiration, thrown in with a few workout selfies. But on Instagram, you can legit show up like your own reality TV. And I love it. And it has made me such a confident coach because I didn't care. I started showing up as if 5,000 people were watching. So don't worry about, so I'm going to give you a little Instagram hack too. If you have a business account on Instagram, I learned this because when I did my massive unfollow of Beachbody and started following all these entrepreneurs, if you don't have a business account, I mean, if you don't have 10,000 followers, you can have the swipe up feature. It doesn't really matter that you have a business profile. And I actually tested this out and did the business for a while and then went back. I get more engagement having a personal profile on Instagram. More people watch my stories, more people comment and like, and I'm sure that has something to do with an algorithm, you know, but in all honesty, having that business profile, all that does is make you all anxious about your insights and you're worried about like, you shouldn't post this on a Tuesday at 6. Like, who cares? Like, you don't need all that extra stress. You know, if you really, really, really are like, I need this money from Beachbody in order for us to pay our mortgage, if you have really big financial goals, then yes, maybe you need to be more strategic from a business standpoint because you're trying to maximize your time. But, you know, if that's not the case, if this isn't life, you know, make it or break it for you financially, for your family, don't stress about that stuff. Yes, you need systems in place. Yes, it's important to have some strategy and some planning. But if it's bringing your vibes down, if it's bringing your energy down because you're stressing about when to post where and what to do, and I need to have a website and I should be like sending emails out from Streak because that's what these people do, like, don't do it. Like, if it doesn't feel good to you, don't do it. Get up every day, drink your shake, work out, and show up on your social media as who you are, because people are going to be attracted to your energy. They could give a rat's ass, honestly, that you can sell them bod or Shakeology. They want to see that the products that you're using, the challenge groups that you're in, and the team that you are on is changing your life. Because they can go to beachbody.com. You know that they've been in a hotel before and they've seen our infomercials. They've had umpteen chances to buy a challenge pack. But that's not why people sign up 9 times out of 10. It's because they want this. They see our little boomerangs on team call night. You know, they see us sharing these amazing transformational stories from our challenge groups. They see us just showing up with no makeup on and a messy bun and no bra on Instagram. And they're like, wow, you're really confident. You don't care about what people think of you. And you're like, yeah, guess what? Coaching did this for me. You know, I probably wouldn't know who Rachel Hollis is without coaching. You know, I wouldn't be as uplifting and positive as I am without all of you girls around me every day holding my hand and saying, who cares that you ate the 16 slices of pizza? Tomorrow is a new day. You know, like, we get so focused on that hustle and we've got to hit these goals and we've got to do this because, you know, Beachbody champions pay. Like, there's going to be noise everywhere, guys. And you can choose to listen to what you want to listen to depending on the season of life that you're in. There may be months where it sounds really sexy to do a power hour, then do it. But it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It's not a black and white business. You don't have to be a hustler or a non-hustler to be successful. You don't even have to identify yourself as a discount coach or a part-time coach or I want to work the business. If it's fun, show up and make it fun, right? Because I also don't believe in duplicity, because I think that it's going to be different for everybody. But when you recruit coaches, you've got to remember that you've got to be able to tell them something. And one thing that you can tell every coach, regardless if they're part-time, discount, work full-time, have kids, don't have kids, is just show up and be who they are. All the systems can be adjusted to fit people's individual needs, you know, but showing up in that energy most days. And I'm going to close with this. One other thing that I really found really, really helpful for me, and I'm not quitting coaching, obviously. I'm actually probably more on fire with coaching than I have been since a newbie, brand new coach, is give yourself grace when you're not vibing with it. Don't automatically think, this isn't for me. I don't want to do this. I don't want to quit. A lot of times it's just your hormones. I've noticed that on the first day of my period, I started tracking it. which is something I don't do because I have an IUD. But instead of it hitting me like a brick wall, and I'm like, why do I want to eat all the carbs? Why am I so angry? Why do I want to do this? Like, hey, self, maybe it would be a good idea to know when that's coming. So maybe you don't plan a launch on that day. Like I remember like back when I was first getting back to tracking my periods, I was about to launch a new free community. Like I still have it on my to-do list. I want a Facebook community. I don't really do free groups anymore, but I want just a community where I can show up like I do on my Instagram stories, but on Facebook, and just share videos with people and just have a place where people can learn and gain value from me without being a paid customer in my challenge group. So I had a cover photo that I had a graphic designer make for me. I was like all hype. And the day of the launch, I started my period and I was like, if I show up and do a welcome video in this group today, nobody's going to want to join because I'm in such a shitty mood. Like no one's going to want to hang out with me today. So I decided I'm not going to launch this right now. And I didn't. Like, I wasn't mad at myself for it. I didn't beat myself up for it because I had a goal. You know, say you have a challenge group that you're wanting to launch for the first time and it just feels off, you know, allow yourself grace in this process, and it's okay to take some time off. Like, I would strongly encourage you every so often to legit take a social media break. Tell your followers, be like, I'm unplugging until Monday morning and take the weekend off, and legit don't get on your phone. Like, don't get on your phone. I know that's the biggest thing my kids harp on me about to this day is they feel like I'm always on my phone. Because it's hard sometimes to make business hours. The idea sounds really fantastic, but you can't always sit down from 6 to 7 every night. Like, you know, your life is crazy every single day, but take that break, honor yourself in that moment, and know that tomorrow's a new day. And you might wake up tomorrow and feel really badass and want to send out 500 invites. You know, this process is never going to be cookie cutter. And I don't know if you guys followed Ashley, but I loved the fact that we had a different top coach this year, and she could not be more polar opposite than Melanie. And I learned great things from both of them, but it shows you that anybody can do this. And the reason why she is successful is because she gives 0 Fs and she shows up authentically in who she is every single day. It could be very easy for her to be like, oh, I probably shouldn't talk about the fact that I like to drink because I'm a Beachbody coach. No, that's why people are attracted to her, because they're like, oh, you mean I can like be healthy and get fit and still have a life? Yeah. Because realistically, guys, like people want a normal human, you know? Are there any questions in the chat thread?
I just want to say that I've had like a few girls message me and be like, I love her. Oh my gosh, you guys are so similar.
The universe brought us together, I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh. Guys, if anybody has any questions, you can feel free to drop them in the chat or unmute yourself. We have like, if everybody's okay with it, we have like 10 minutes left. I won't make it go super duper long.
Pizza and donuts are life.
They are. It's so funny because I took the Josh Coates training, and my upline coach is a one-on-one Josh Coates hustler. Like that's who she is, and that is great. But we've just kind of realized that like that's not our life, and we can't do that. Great to exactly what you said. Take what you can, but leave what you don't need, and so it's perfect. It's great.
Yeah, and you guys, like, honor yourself in your business. Like, my actual upline and I were success partners, and it was going really well until it wasn't. And it was exactly, we just kind of grew apart. Like, we are very, very different coaches. She doesn't like fitness. Like, she's got some chronic pain issues that cause her to not be able to be a more traditional coach. And of course, I honor her where she is. Like, we're friends, but I was running my challenge groups completely different than her idea of a challenge group. And it was really, really hard. Like, I had to have a really hard conversation with her and tell her that if I'm going to be successful as Kelley, I've got to branch off on my own. And I don't do confrontation well. It was super icky. It was an awful conversation, and we didn't talk for a really long time. And to this day, we're still not as close as we used to be. But I had to make a decision that I was either going to be a people pleaser and I wasn't going to speak up, and I was going to continue to kind of like, because when I came in, she already had a brand and she already had like her vision of a team, and it wasn't anything like my personality. So I could have stayed her success partner and we could have, you know, been very successful together, but it never would have felt authentic to me. And it was tough. And, you know, that's a hard thing about this business is we form really good friendships. And sometimes it's hard with that business friend line, because at the end of the day, like I tell all of my coaches, if Beachbody were to end tomorrow, you guys would still be the people I talk to every single day. So our relationship is going to be first and foremost with my coaches, but I'm in this to make money, and I've got to be honest with the fact that I have goals to hit, and that has nothing to do with my relationship with my coaches. But I encourage them all the time, if you guys ever want to go out and start your own, because we have a very, very, very successful branded challenge group. But I'm sure to them, as much as I tell them it's our group, it probably doesn't feel like their group because they didn't create it. And so I encourage them always, go out and start your own group. You know, grab somebody from a different team. Like I always encourage people to get on team cups with other people, like branch out, do things out of the normal, like host team calls for people. Like if you want to be that leader, if you want to rank advance, then show up like those people would be doing. Be in that energy of someone who is going to be a guest speaker on other calls. You know, even if you're just a coach, like if you have a vision of being a 5-star coach someday, you know, I'm sure you have friends within the business, be like, hey, could I host a team call for you? One thing that me and a couple other girls did once was we created a diamond mastermind for our entire upline organization. And we wanted to vomit doing it because we were like, no one's going to want to do this. And everybody was obsessed with it because we weren't Andrea. They felt like they were learning from their peers. They felt more relatable hearing the three of us who weren't quite diamonds yet teach them how to be a diamond. We were literally in a push group pushing to diamond with them, but teaching them how to be a diamond. Like, that's even crazy. But we ran with the idea. We thought it sounded super fun, and it was so successful, and people just loved it. But we were like, what can we do that's fun? What can we do that's going to create a lot of energy? Like, if it fails, I mean, we've had lots of challenge group ideas flop. You know, we've had lots of even push groups flop where everybody's all excited about it until we start teaching and no one shows up. Like, you're going to have things that fail, but what's worth it if you don't keep going? You know, like, keep on going. And I had a freaking quote. Did anybody do the Transform 20 workout this morning? He said something at the beginning of the workout or at the end that was like, oh my God, he is in my head. He knows it's on my team call tonight, but it's totally downstairs in my tracker. But like, guys, I just love this organization so much. Like, I feel like I could talk about Beachbody constantly.
Yeah, it's so true. And that's what I love about this is that not everybody is the same. So bringing on different people and talking, like, I love to hear how other coaches and ladies are doing things, because what vibes with me, like Meredith or Cynthia, like, we all run things very differently. And it's just like, I love hearing different things. And like, so Cynthia's my mom, and she'll be like, oh, I watched X, Y, or Z today. Did you see this? And I'm like, no, I would never do that. And she's like, oh, well, it's really working for me. I'm like, great, then you do that. And vice versa. I'll be like, oh, guess what I did? And she's like, great, well, I'm never going to do that. And so it's so cool because, I mean, like, even just all of us, like, swapping ideas and doing stuff, just having different people speak on new team calls, like, especially we have had a lot of hustler coaches come on and talk. So it's so nice to hear, like, that other people get it. And like, this is a lifestyle. And like I tell everybody, I'm going to do this whether I have 100 coaches under me or 5 or none. Like, this is my life, and it has changed my life, and I absolutely love it. And like, you're going to be the best coach if you love it too. And like, if you're just doing it just to do it, like, then why? It's just not like, that's honestly, so it's just so cool how, like you said, we vibe together. And like, it was cool to have somebody on the call that like is just so different and gets us. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. And I'll do a shameless plug for lifestyle coaching. So one of the reasons I decided to get she's a lifestyle business coach, but as you guys know, like if you surround yourself in any kind of female entrepreneur community, there's coaches for pretty much anything you could possibly want. But I found myself, because I'm in the Beachbody world, being attracted to people like Josh Coates. And I didn't want somebody to teach me how to hustle in a network marketing business. I wanted somebody to just help me figure out what Kelley wanted, because I felt like I was trying to push in everybody else's mold. Because, and I'll say this one last thing, middle of last year, I thought I wanted to quit coaching because I was miserable in my job. This was before I got my new job, whatever. So I felt like, well, I have to make this massive income if my husband's going to let me quit coaching. And I felt pushed into a corner of doing it like everybody else. And that's exactly when I found my coach. I literally came across, I don't even know how I came across her on her Instagram story, but she was talking to me. Like, she was like, if you are blah, 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 message me for a consult. And I was like, I don't know who you are, but yes, I am that, and that. And I messaged her, and she does like, most coaches would do like a consultation call. If they're a good coach, they won't sign you unless they know you're a good fit. And that should be something for all of you to know too. Like, don't take on coaches and customers that don't feel good to you just for a number, because it will be an energy leak. Like, take on people that are a match for you and are ready to do the work. But anyway, so I was at a very low point in my business financially and thought I was going to quit. And I invested more in my business than I ever have before. And I did it without even thinking about it. So if it ever happens in your life where you come across a business or life coach and it feels like the right fit to you, I strongly encourage you to do it, because I've never felt more secure in who I am as Kelley as a coach. Because even having 2 other girls to run a team with, it got to the point where I felt like it was the 3 of us all the time. And I lost track of how I wanted to show up and how I wanted to run my business, because we always brainstormed everything together. And as much as I love having them to run our team with, we are 3 completely different people. And so it can be very easy to lose sight of what you want. So, and that again, just requires some often soul searching on what you want in this business.
That's awesome. That is so cool. I love it. Awesome. Well, again, thank you. And if anybody has any questions for Kelley, you can either friend her on Facebook or you can follow her
on Instagram and see all of my hot mess shenanigans. And I have 2 girls, a 14 and a 6-year-old. And so it's quite entertaining here at my house.
As it is here. Oh my goodness. Awesome. Well, I'm very excited to speak on Thursday. And like I said, you want to, as my toddler yells at me that frozen Elsa is shutting her out right now. Okay, I'm over. So I am so excited. And like I said, I hope you guys pop on Thursday. It'll be Kelley's Zoom number, I think, right?
Yes.
So I'll get that to you guys in the page. And yeah, if you guys have any other questions, Wednesday night too. That will be something different to see. So, all right. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.